Yeah, you know, it would pop up here and there, but the time I remember it being like most dominant was when like Lethality Varus was really, really strong from red side. And that was like 2-3 years ago, I think. So yeah, it's not very common.
See the bans coming out. Very popular bans on red side are like Pantheon and Varus. Wow, what a surprise. This is kind of thing, you know, blue side has a lot more flexibility with what they want to ban. We have the Lucian taken away from Diablo, which is something he's lent towards. Nico taken away from Keln as well. That engage option with a lot of priority in lane. And then Zinzao denied from Raptor, so feel more targeted. And we'll see. I feel like the third ban, a bit more flexibility for BNK FearX if there's something they specifically want to deny away from DM Freaks. Azir did get buffed on this patch. It is open and available. But Talia also a big pick for Bulldog as well. And we know Vikla would love to get the Azir himself. We'll see if either of those mid laners going to look in.
Yeah, maybe leave them both. As right at the last moment, we get the Poppy ban. Just getting a little worried as we had hit 0 seconds and the timer was ticking.
Gwen picked up there for Dudu. Seen this pick do a lot of work when I can get going in the later stage of the game. We've seen a lot of answers though. Things like the Aurora in the top lane can obviously give it a hard time. Looks like they're going to lean to the Talia side of the matchup. So in rounds 1 and 2, we often saw the Talia taken and be favorable into the Azir. Internationally, we saw players being willing to take the Azir and be confident in that. So I imagine DM Freaks could do that, but instead they're going to go for the Nocturne Orianna combo. Really punishing into a mobile pick, so this Talia might end up feeling comfortable there, and I think Bulldog confident in the matchup, definitely a pick he's happy with. And a lot of backline threat immediately, and it makes me think, will they prioritize an AD carry here just to make sure they have something a little bit safe, and they opt not to, instead going for the Rumble, making sure that Clear has something where you can kind of put some pressure on the Gwen. Normally it's things like Rumble, like the Aurora that we see, and now going in the second rotation, I feel like for the DM Freaks, we often see when you're playing things like Nocturne, you want to target things like Xayah, Ezreal, especially if Nocturne Orianna. It's a lot easier to pull off that combo if you're limiting the safe AD carries.
And sometimes Xayahs struggle with dodging it anyway, but it's still the best at dodging it.
I feel like Senna also is kind of sleeper, because when Nocturne pops his ult, you can pop your E, and he can't target you with the ult. So I feel like if DM Freaks do ban like Xayah, Ezreal, maybe we see BNK FearX go Senna on 4 if they feel confident. We'll see if they opt to go in that direction. Maybe DM Freaks do ban the Senna out. Right now the Bard denied by BNK FearX though.
Yeah, the Bard and the Orianna together with the Nocturne is something we saw from Gen G at EWC, right? So that combo, they were paying attention, and it is pretty disgusting. So a good idea to deny it, I would say, especially with the popularity of Bard going up so much.
Opting for the Tahm Kench ban as well, figuring that, you know, if you time the combo right, even Ezreal can end up in trouble. But the Tahm Kench can give a huge safety net to even a mobile AD carries, and BNK FearX opting to go for the Alistar instead. I think that's a good pickup. Alistar combining with that Orianna, with that Nocturne would be a menace. And DM Freaks go for Zeri Lulu. So you have a lot of follow through, you have strong scaling, and into the Alistar you have a pretty free lane. I feel like here you might just have to kind of go towards the Senna. I feel like if you go the Ezreal, it's going to have a bad time later on. They actually go for the Kai'Sa instead. I mean, you can build Zhonya's later on this to survive the combo. It does commit you to a more forward-focused dive composition. But
they already have so much AP in their comp as well.
Yeah, and people have been leaning more towards the AP composition. I feel like it does kind of put your composition on a bit of a timer into what DM Freaks have. But if you get the ball rolling early, you should just be able to take over the game.
Yeah, I do feel like BNK did a lot of, we're going to focus on our composition, and you just do whatever you want over there. Because their comp, if you just look at their comp, it's amazing, right? Like, you have double CC for the Rumble, for the Kai'Sa setup, right? The dive. Talia Vi is incredible as a duo. So there's a lot of power, but it does feel like on the side of DNF, they also have a ton of power as well. Like, their dive composition, their ability to pick off some of these immobile carries like the Talia, like the Kai'Sa, who does have, you know, shielding and some mobility, but then you've got the Zeri in the late game. It just feels like they just kind of win when that happens.
I'm just a bit concerned with Zeri being picked into Vi Talia. Seems a bit dangerous. Also, you know, if Nocturne falls behind, if you're not the one who's able to always start the fights, there's a lot of vulnerable targets who can be aggressed on. You know, you have Vi, Alistar leading the charge. If one of them hits a combo, Orianna's vulnerable, Lulu's vulnerable, Zeri's vulnerable. I feel like, yeah, if we see this game go even and get to the later stages, DM Freak should have a lot of confidence, but I'm not sure that BNK Fearx can let that happen.
And Diablo's Kai'Sa is pretty insane. So that's another thing to think about. We might not even get to the late game. Let's hop into the Rift for game number 1. All right, here we go. Best Alistar skin selected. He's got his cowbell ready to go. Good job, Kellen.
Not fan of the Outback?
No.
Whoa.
I just care about the cowbell, and that's about it. When it comes to Alistar, at least, you know. I do think that at the end of round 2, Diablo was like miles ahead of Berserker in terms of ability.
Yeah.
I think that Berserker had to do a lot of work, a lot of scrims, a lot of solo queue to get up to the level that Diablo was at. I do wonder, that's why it was our key player matchup, because I do wonder, like, is this going to maintain itself? This idea that, okay, Diablo is probably one of our top 5 AD carries, which is kind of insane for a team that's in 7th place. Up against Berserker, who unfortunately on DNF is down towards the bottom rungs.
To be fair, I think it's really hard to look good as an AD carry in a team who are doing so bad, which is kind of credit to the moments when Berserker looked good. Like, if your whole team is, if you're losing every game, like, an AD carry is funneled resources by the team. If your team are just losing, you're never getting that much resources.
You have no front line, you have no ability to deal damage, you just kind of die a lot of the time.
Every AD carry player listening to this is like, yes.
Ox knows because, well, he's a support player.
I've played enough AD carry in my times.
Enough Ziggs AD carry in your time. And some Sivir, you know, a little bit here and there.
Natural, you know.
True, true.
But so far, Bulldog having a good time in the mid lane. Bot lane, understandably, having Cryo in this matchup against Alistar. Going to be a pretty chill lane for the Zeri and the Lulu.
They're just doing a very good job of farming under the turret. Can sometimes be a little bit difficult at the very early stages for the Rumble, but he's doing just fine. Did look like Bulldog was doing a good job in mid against Vikla, who actually does have to TP back to the lane already. So that's going to be TP down here for the BNK mid laner.
Yeah, just pick up the tier. It's not the worst timing for a reset for the Talia, but just getting harassed out pretty aggressively by this Orianna. And that's the thing, I'm interested to see where Raptor can make his presence known, because into the Nocturne, you know, Pioshik's just going to be wanting to farm up to 6. That's the game plan. If Raptor can get something done before that, which he absolutely has the potential to do on this Vi, then definitely can snowball things in their favor.
Raptor gonna get the scuttle. Looks like that is going to be spotted. We saw a ping come out from Life, so they know this is happening. And so just a trade of scuttles, whereas Raptor, they know he's down on the bottom side of the map, but they are still pretty far up the lane, as now looking to close in. Berserker and Life know now that they are in trouble, as they're going to go onto the Lulu, actually. Looks like Diablo was kind of calling off the play anyway, as they had gotten enough space, but it's still the flash and the heal out of Berserker and Life.
I think all things considered, for DNF, that's as good as it's going to get. With how overextended they were in that situation, with the fact that Raptor wrapped around, only burning the flash on Zeri and the heal on the Lulu, I don't think it gets much better on that. And, you know, often you think that, like, burning the flash on the AD carry is worse than the support, but because Zeri is so mobile, this probably fares better. Zeri has better chances of making it out of a future gank than the Lulu does. So I think ultimately, the fact that they didn't die there, the fact that Lulu still has the flash, I think DNF played that about as well as they could, given the situation.
Yeah, they were pretty far up, but they made their way out as Diablo and Kellen maybe a little bit too far away. They weren't quite able to close the gap very quickly, so.
It's one of those difficult situations where if they start moving too soon, they give away that the gang's coming.
Yeah.
But if they don't move soon enough, then they're not in position to immediately follow up. And they were wary of the fact that maybe Pioshi could turn up if they overcommit. Maybe they could get caught out. Nice little steal coming in there from Pioshi.
Yeah, gonna accelerate him just a little bit. Level 6, very important for both of these junglers. So any amount that Pioshi can get ahead is going to feel nice and help him for his first gank, which you would expect to be on to Vikla. You know, it is Orianna and Nocturne. But Vikla has held on to his flash. There hasn't been a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, I think
as you've got a Lulu support, so not a lot of roaming there.
The only thing with ganking Talia is the lane's so short. You know, even though it's effective, if you don't necessarily have the damage yet, it can be kind of hard to 100-0. And if Vikla just flashes up to the combo, if he's not that deep in the lane, it can be a bit tricky. So we'll see where the angle is for Pioshik with that first ultimate once he gets it available. I will say, you know, even though I said Berserker, obviously only his flash being burned is a pretty good outcome for DNF. I want to see BNK Furex look to capitalize on that, look to punish that, especially if Raptor does get that ult available. If they see a window to capitalize on the Zeri, they should absolutely take it.
Pioshik, very aggressive banana brush control coming in here. He's going to hold on to his control ward as well. But now we got Rumble coming up the river, and here's a wall straight onto life. But there's the polymorph as well. Couple of flashes as Vikla's like, well, I got to get on the right side. And Pioshik says, well, so do I. And they both just kind of avoid the fight entirely. As now it is going to be the Scuttle Crab going over to Raptor.
I like a bit of a panicked flash from Vikla there. The polymorph obviously caught him off guard, and now that Talia a lot more vulnerable than he was before, so potentially the opportunity for Pioshik and Bulldog to punish Vikla.
Pioshik just at level 6. Was watching those XP bars. So did Raptor actually as he finishes off. Looks like the blue buff at this timing. Going straight into the Gromp. So both of our junglers going to be looking for making a play with their ultimate abilities at this point in time, but no real lane available at the moment.
That's the only thing with Pioshik now having been his flash. If Raptor's there when the Nocturne goes in for the ult, the counter punch is available. You know, if an overcommit comes in, you ult Pioshik on the turnaround, could be disaster for DNF.
Yeah, got to be very careful. You got to pick and choose your places. I think it deserves mention that DNF was part of some of our slowest games here at the LCK, and also some of our lowest kill games for the 2025 LCK. Actually tied, the other team is Bro for the 2 games. As now we got the Orianna in a lot of trouble. Bulldog is going to flash away as they don't quite set up the play on time, and Bulldog gets away.
Yeah, that was a very uncharacteristic misplay from Kellen, who Alistair's normally one of his best champions, and he just completely whiffed the combo. It looked like he was in range to headbutt, so I don't know if he just didn't press it or what happened there, but either way, just slammed the ground, and I think that should have just been a kill, if I'm being real. So a big misplay comes out, and as a result, we're going to see DNF able to pick up all, not all 3, just 2 grubs, but still a big advantage there. Now Vikla.
This little face check gets polymorphed, and now he doesn't have his flash. Remember, he flashed earlier. Nocturne comes in. Pioshik picks up first blood on the top side of the map. As Pioshik says, thank you very much. I'll take that kill.
Super easy pickup there, and Pioshik gets a stack for his Ultima Hunter, so he's happy on the back of that. And much easier setup, I feel. You know, Lulu not a champion, you typically feel like he's going to set up kills like that, but Vikla kind of just walks into the enemy bot lane, and DNF happy to take that one.
Yeah, the Lulu CC and the ward coverage, very good from DNF.
Yeah, the slow comes through, and then Berserker, it's a good knockback, honestly, from Vikla there, but there is nothing you can do about the Nocturne following up on the back end, and with no flash, you are just dead.
Yeah. That's the thing about the Nocturne. Doesn't really care about the Vi, doesn't really care about the Talia, doesn't really care about the Alistair on his first initial go. So that damage is going to hit, and if he gets a spell shield on a good CC, then he can do even more. So especially into the Talia, and Vikla being alone, not going to feel good. But BNK, at least they're going to get this dragon. Feels like a little bit of a consolation prize, as they only got one grub, and Zeri got a plate in top lane. So, you know, the gold going heavily into DNF's pockets, and it's going on the people that you want it to go over towards. You know, the assist for the Zeri, the plate for the Zeri, the ultimate hunter stack, the immediately finished Hex plate here for Pyosik is actually very fast and might get some value in this game.
You know, I've just noticed, was this yesterday and I'm just blind, but the additional gold between the teams on the overlap.
That was definitely there yesterday.
Now we don't have to do math on stream anymore, Brendan.
I know, it's
We're
crazy,
saved.
isn't it?
It just tells us DNF and 800 gold ahead.
So many
900
years
gold ahead.
of us messing up the
ahead.
numbers. They
Yeah.
were like, well, we gotta fix this.
Man, someone must have flubbed it really bad last season, and they were like, never again.
I can definitely think of a couple of times. And then there's probably even more than that I can remember.
That's
so yeah,
that job easier and easier.
900 gold, 1,000 gold. Oh,
1,100? Wow.
Crazy.
Oh, no, only 1,000 now.
Yeah, it is
not as big of a deal. Oh, only 900. Okay, well, actually dropping. Oh, 1,000 again.
What do you think is the tick rate on the
They're going to turn this off.
refresh?
They're going to turn this off after this game, honestly, because they're doing this.
All right, here we go. The combo not there, and he's actually able to wall away. And the combo, of course, was not there because Bulldog was mid. I just assumed that he would go for that play.
It's fine. You got distracted by the gold.
Yeah,
that's my bad.
Understandable.
Yeah, so no CC really to come instantaneously to stop Vikla. A good ult away. And yeah, so we had one ult that got a lot of value from Pyosik. Second doesn't, but something I will note. So obviously that first kill, he got an ultimate hunter stack, but he also bought the Hex plate. So look how quickly his ult is taken away, and considering this is a rank 1 ult, it's not going to be down for long.
We got a fight in bottom lane, a lot of needles going into clear, but now Kellen is here, and even the last bunch of needles not able to finish off the Rumble. So Kellen, this time, you know, he didn't have to press any buttons, but his his presence at least is able to save his teammates.
The zoning cow.
Yeah. Very scary cowbell.
Now looking for Doo-Doo.
All right, can he press the buttons this time? Well, this time he is going to be able to, due to in a little bit of trouble, but the mist is going to help out a little bit in terms of those resistances, but eventually Doo-Doo just kind of accepts his fate. Doesn't have flash, used exhaust earlier, and just kind of dies. So nice pickup there for BNK.
Yeah, I think after seeing the Alistar the first time to dissuade the play, I think Doo-Doo needed to play with a little bit more respect. And BNK Pyosik will get a reward on the bot side. Vikla also going to pick some plates as well as a bonus.
Yeah.
Do you see Pyosik's ult coming up again in just a few seconds? That timer very short already. Well, not really an opportunity to capitalize on it yet. And we'll see, yeah. I mean, I think just a little bit disrespectful here. CC gets layered really well. The stun to follow up. I think, honestly, even using the exhaust was a little bit ambitious for Doo-Doo.
Yeah, I think the second you see the TP, you gotta respect. Like, if there's no TP, even if there is no TP, I feel like you have to show a little bit of respect, at least wait a little bit before you're walking straight up to the wave.
You just don't need to show yet. You know, I don't think they're in a rush at that point. Something to note is you have Dragon and Herald spawning at the exact same time, so...
Whoa!
Bit of a split up in terms of objectives there.
All right, here we go this time again. The combo comes down, and there is flash available for Vikla, but now with the polymorph on top of it, you're just not able to play the game. So Vikla not having a fun time being targeted this much.
Well, they did the combo. That's how it works.
Oh boy, the overheat comes in from Clear. He's doing a ton of damage with those autos, but Clear, oh, the ult is just totally gonna miss. And it wasn't gonna kill him anyway. Kind of came out as, I don't know, desperation. Looked kind of weird, but he got away at least.
You know, I feel like if Doo-Doo still had the exhaust, he would have had more confidence to play more aggressive. Probably would have got the kill there. But yeah, Clear, don't think he played that one really optimally. I think he just thought he had it in the bag and then kind of panicked on the back end. Threw his ult down a little bit skew, and here, yeah, this is the low counterplay combo.
Yeah.
Clear doesn't even waste his flash, which is the right call, but it just kind of shows how pointless it is.
I guess maybe right after the Orianna ult, he could have flashed, but as you mentioned, there's no point at that point. No more clearing wards solo, Vikla. I think that's like off the cards, especially with Nocturne as ult combo. his cooldown rather this low, you just have to respect as well. Like, you just can't be alone in there killing a ward in the tri-brush. You're just gonna die. So
I mean, we just saw him ult. We have the replay. And look, it's about to come up again.
yeah,
It's kind of crazy. So
this is like the solo queue Nocturne. It's really fun. You don't see it work this often in Pro, but he's got an Orianna. As here's Dudu, again, very far up the lane with no flash. And, well, he's gonna...
Oh, Raptor.
Yeah, doesn't quite know the interaction there. I'm not sure if it's gonna matter, as Diablo is coming down here as well. And he will pick up the kill. So 338 gold there for Raptor, or rather for Diablo. And they're gonna get this Drake, so that's gonna be 2 Drakes from BNK. Yes, DNF did get the Heralds, which maybe they can throw into mid or top, which is a bit low.
Yeah, it's not going to matter much, but this, I remember this was like peak Gwen is immune era when everyone was complaining about it, is that if Gwen just presses W, the ult gets cancelled and it goes on cooldown.
Yep.
So definitely a fun interaction. But I guess in this situation, it doesn't really matter because you force the W and you just run Dudu down, but I guess you could have just run at Dudu anyway. Either way, Raptor does find the enemy top laner. It's taken down. The thing I will say, you were talking about the hex plate, the ult spam, how it's a solo queue build. I think we can rephrase it, Brendan. It's the Rise group build. You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's just so powerful.
The thing is, like, we were seeing a bunch of it anyway before Rise grew.
But I feel like it wasn't
And it never got any value.
Yeah.
As there is a wall, but he's just going to do a little spin as, oh, the driving. Oh!
He tried so hard.
He got pretty far too, but in the end,
It didn't even matter.
yeah, it's just extra gold for Diablo. So much for that Rift Herald's kind of consolation prize that DNF got. Didn't really end up doing anything.
Honestly, respect for the effort, though.
Yeah. I mean, I was always hoping that people would do that more often, just against like Bard and Poppy.
I think like if you took a wider
Well,
circle,
Trundle,
maybe.
you know?
Yeah.
Maybe not Poppy.
Just gotta get in the practice tool and do some more reps, you know?
Yeah.
I
It's
wonder-
definitely possible.
I wonder how many pro players have actually done that. Gone in a practice pool and just slammed Herald and just done drifting reps.
Based on what we've seen, I'm going to say approximately 0. Yeah, just around 0. Maybe
Yeah.
like 0.1.
You know,
Probably 0.
Hacker from the LPL has. He's the one. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen his clip. I've
I
shown
have
you it.
not.
I've shown
Did
you
you?
it. Yeah, he did that escape one, and there was an edit of it.
Yeah.
The Fast and Furious edit. That was a banger.
How about owner from EWC? Just going up into the sky. Life in a lot of trouble here, but he gets away for now. The follow-up comes in from DNF. Life will go down into Trina supports for now, as they're going in on a Raptor who also had to go very deep, and he's going to be taken down. It's 2 kills for DNF in the team fight.
And DNF just decimate BNK FairX. You know, Kellen gets exploded. His ult comes in, but the damage reduction isn't really enough to save him from the burst, and he gets it down quite late, and the follow-up damage, he gets shredded through. Raptor goes down quickly as well, and I feel like we're starting to see BNK FairX fall further and further behind. Even though the goal lead isn't that much, the composition of DNF, if you're even at this point of the game, I think you're vibing.
Yeah, and I do feel like in the past, they have been able to set up game states like this. What I'm going to be looking for is for them to continue with it as the game gets later.
They look for the Lulu here. A lot of damage done. But the thing is, this burst comes in. Kellen ults, but I mean, he's already too low, and then he just gets shredded through the ult. Raptor gets decimated as well. There's so much damage coming out already from this DNF composition. There's no real... I mean, Alistair is a tanky champion, so he does not feel tanky right now at level 7, lowest level in the game. Feels like that Orianna just absolutely exploded him.
Yeah, especially when now Life has finished the redemption, which a very nice, cheap support item. Kellen, well, he's got a Kindle gem. He's really struggling here for the gold to buy relevant items.
Sports do love those Kindle gems.
Yeah. They do, but they like their finished items a bit better.
Yeah.
Redemption it's been popping up more and more. It feels very strong.
It just gets so much value if you get, like, the healing does so much in these fights. If you time it at the right time, hit the right targets, it can do so much. I mean, Locket's also a strong item at preventing burst, and I imagine that's what Kellen is going towards, try and mitigate that shockwave damage. But you saw just like, especially with two items completed by Bulldog. Oh.
Here we go, there it is, and the Kai'Sa, there's no hope for him. He doesn't have flash, he tries to barrier, but I didn't even see it, he just died. And DNF, well, this is the kind of composition that works for them. Just press your buttons together, and it forces you to be on the same page, and now they're gonna be looking at Otacon.
It's just press your buttons and go. It works so well. This is maybe what DNF needed this whole time. Now, BNK looking to potentially contest, but I don't think you can. One member down, especially Juju threatening on the flank. But the problem is, you're giving up Otacon. Dragon's right there for follow-up. Maybe they can stall and wait for the AD carry to come back on the map.
Diablo spawns now. Raptor gonna start this one up, but the Otacon's down. We do have the smite used by Pioshig, and he doesn't seem to have another one. So it looks like DNF say, well, we got the Otacon that's better. Let's just back away. It is going to be a Mountain Soul point, though, for BNK, so pretty nice consolation prize, I'd say, at this point. You know, the Mountain Soul would be very nice in terms of surviving stuff like this.
They've definitely been practicing this combo, and it's not that hard to do the combo, but we've seen a lot of pro teams even messing it up, and they've been pretty clean with it. You know, it feels like the main thing is being consistent, so every time you go, you get the timing right, and they've nailed it every time, especially there. Diablo going invisible, and they're still able to land it on him, so doing good work. And I would imagine this is the sort of game where...
Oh, the flash on him, they want a combo on a Zeri, but guess what the real combo is? It's the one on the Kai'Sa, and Berserker lives! Don't even use the redemption on Berserker, he doesn't need it. They're gonna use it to heal up the team, and Clear goes down. DNF are rolling BNK here in this big game.
This seems like a painfully unfun game to play an AD carry into. DNF right now, unrelenting, pushing forwards with this pressure. Making you think, was the Kai'Sa the wrong call in this one? You know, we saw the Xayah ban come in, we saw the Tahm Kench ban come in. At least like the center, you can pop the E when the Nocturne ult comes through. We'll see a replay of this.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So you got the Lulu on top of it as well. It's never getting away.
I think it's just also, look, it's a low counterplay combo from DNF, but I'm going to be honest, that was not the correct approach to the fight. You popped your E, you ran out, and you went, hey, I'm over here.
Hey, look at me. Nocturne and Lulu that I'm running into.
Not the approach that is going to allow you to live a lengthy life.
Yeah, it's very true. Also, the focus in the fight from BNK was all over the place. They wanted to turn on the Berserker, who, by the way, still has flash after that fight. Vikla flashed in to follow up onto the Zeri, and then they just lost their Kai'Sa, and they're like, oh. Even if they killed Zeri, I think they lose the fight. It didn't really matter at all.
Yeah, I mean, they do have to try something, but it is feeling... I mean, they have 3 dragons. That's the only consolation prize at the moment. Mountain Soul would help, but I'm not sure it'd save them right now. The gold lead isn't crazy, but it just feels like compositioning in these later fights feels so rough for them. And it's not really going to get better.
Yeah. Also, the Nocturne is so gigantic. He's just so fed. It's incredible. And I kind of like that Bulldog win for Zhonya second, because one of the ways you lose from this far ahead is you get Ahri, or not Ahri, Talia Vi comboed, and you just die immediately. And they already have a lot of damage in this comp with everybody else. So he's like, well, as long as I live, I think it's okay.
That's the thing. If BNK FairX are instead the ones ahead of the curve, you could see a scenario where Clear and Vikla have Zhonya's, maybe even Diablo has Zhonya's as well. And the Nocturne's not 4-0, he's not one-shotting people with the help of Orianna. That's when you can see the composition have struggles for DNF. But in this situation, I mean, the combo's just exploding immediately. And you know, you have a broken Seeker's Arm Guard and clear, and that's it. You don't have the defensive tools. You don't have the luxury to buy those defensive tools. And the fight opens with one person being eliminated. You're basically playing a 5v4 while you're behind in gold.
Yeah. It's not an easy spot here for BNK. You see that DNF are going to go for a reset with Baron spawning in 4, but importantly, the Mountain Soul potential for BNK here in a minute. So a lot of big objectives. Got to go back, spend that gold, and be ready for this one. Looks like Piosik's going to stay on the map, though. He wants to get the Skull Crab, it looks like, which will get some vision around Baron. I don't think there's any world in which BNK can rush a Baron unless like DNF totally mess up and like all 5 members are on the bottom side of the map or something. So,
oh man, just seen the shield
safe.
bow picked up for Berserker. I think he just got a Nash's Tooth, so I think this is when it feels really frustrating when you get like defensive, more defensive leaning items, like you said with the Zhonya's for Bulldog, and now like they're still gonna do enough damage. They know they have enough damage. They're leading defensive because it just limits the options for BNK FearX. And we now have a Terminus on the Kai'Sa, which I don't think feels very good. You know, the Kraken Slayer did get buffed this patch, and they obviously want a bit more AD from the Kai'Sa, but I feel like the problem is you kind of want to Zhonya sooner rather than later on this pick, otherwise you just, like, what does your damage matter if you're just dying immediately?
Yeah. Okay, well, they're going to go in this time. The combo utilized on a Bulldog, but it's the one guy who has Zhonya's, and he just lives immediately. So much damage on a Pioshik, though. He will go down. And so that's the jungler out, and a big shutdown for Kellen, who does get a bunch of gold. Still very low health bars here on the side of BNK, and DNF not backing off yet, 4v5.
Yeah, trying to get some resets coming in here, get some health back. Oh! Raptor. They can't get Soul here, right? Enemy jungler down, but DNF are still scary. DNF are just gonna give it up.
Yeah, I feel like they could have prevented this, but they're a bit late to the party. Life is here now. We got a TP coming in as Raptor has the smite, so it's just gone. There's nothing they can do about it. Double TP comes in with the unsealed spellbook, and Kellen gets there as well, and BNK just get Mountain Soul.
What a heist, honestly, from BNK FearX. And look, the Mountain Soul doesn't suddenly fix all their problems, but it definitely makes things a lot easier. A huge pickup to be 3,000 gold behind and get that now. DNF heading straight over towards that Baron. The jungler's heading over. BNK FearX get there in time to contest.
Yeah, well, Raptor's going to be here. He's got a smite. They don't have any vision. But, yeah, Raptor doesn't have any wards himself. This damage on this is getting very low, but he's going to pop the Paranoia. But in he goes! He gets that pin, and he steals it away! No way you can let that happen! But huge from Raptor here. Clear, going to live as well, and they get the combo out of Berserker! It's all going the way of BNK now, as it's a double for Diablo. We got a kill here for Clear, and the gold is immediately in favor of BNK.
BNK FearX just dragging this game back. It looks so doomed. So doomed. We'll see this play. So they start the fight on a Bulldog. Bulldog pops the Zhonya's, and then the ult actually whiffs here. Misses everyone. So when Pioshik goes in, there's no follow-up. We even see Diablo make a little bit of a mistake walking over some damage there. But here, Raptor just slides in, grabs the Baron. And then in the ensuing fight, another mistake comes through because Bulldog, look, Clay gets chunked here, and then he ults. And as soon as the ult is down, they're like, well, it's go time. We can just dive in onto the Zeri. And you know what? I'm going to be real here, Brendan. I was like,
Do
how?
It. Be real.
I was like, how is this game turned around? How is this game state changed? I thought it was unlosable. And then I looked and saw his DNF, and I was like, well, we've seen this before. A tale as old as time. It is impressive, their ability to take a winning game state. And it's frustrating, honestly, because this game, they did so many things right. And now they're facing a Mountain Soul team, 2,000 gold ahead, and they're ulting into Zhonya's.
Yeah, now they've got the Zhonya's. Now the items are coming through for BNK, and now Kellen is unkillable. Into the backline goes Diablo. Very risky here. Doesn't do quite a lot of damage, but Berserker has to back away, and they chop down Dudu as well. And Diablo gets that kill. Immediately goes into his own Zhonya's and clears. Clearing up Bulldog by himself. Gives him the thumbs up. on top of it for some extra BM, and BNK, they might have just won this game in the span of 3 minutes.
It's insane. I am shocked despite everything. Despite everything we saw in round 1 and 2, the time off has just given me time to be more surprised by how matchups like this can go. BNK FearX shows some great resilience, and DNF, it's another heartbreak. Game 1, there's still a series ahead, but this just feels like after all that time off, after all the work they must have put in, this must not feel good.
I mean, there's no way it feels good for DNF. And even for BNK, you know, they got pretty far behind and they were getting kind of rolled. So I think there's definitely a lot for them to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, how did this go so poorly? But at the end of the day, a win is a win. And you got that first one on the board. You turn around a big game that you were probably supposed to lose. And maybe now you can roll that into another one. You see a lot of smiles, some sheepish grins here on their side. I feel like they are the better team. So the second they were given a chance, they just rolled with it. And DNF, unfortunately, just kind of, yeah, it's the same old story, Ox. Nothing changed.
Was it ever this bad? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
This just feels, it's been a while, it just feels worse.
Yeah.
Look at that gold graph.
We've had games like this before. That's why I said during the game, I'm like, you know, they're very good at early game. Their mid-game is solid. They were crushing mid-game. The second it comes to those late-game objective fights, it just flew out the window.
They need to be studied, honestly. That one.
Well, BNK is going to get the win, guys. I'm sure if you missed the last 5 minutes, you're very surprised at what happened. You should definitely go ahead and check out the replays when they do come up. As that is the end of game 1. BNK are ahead 1-0. We'll come back after the break and see what happens in game number 2.
내려줄래? 이번 조심, 럼블 조심, 럼블 조심. 나 전혀 있어. 나 빨았어. 앉아. 둘다 너무. 해볼게. 내가 그려. 노노. 아직게. 안 내봐. 한샷 되냐봐. 세리공. 아비. 정비. 얘들아 이거 미드 타워로 가볼래? 나이스. 뭐야 기약이었네. 럼블 조심해 이거. 내가 이겼어. 뭐야 잡아. 나이스. 잡아야 돼.
To winning, and I think they had the tools, but at some point they just threw the tools away.
Yeah, I mean, like our spacers said, it's pretty easy to play composition, and I just wonder what they can get from this draft that will also be easy to play, because that's where they do look the best.
I mean,
it's not very surprising.
That's the worry for me, is that like that was a game where a lot went right for a long time. And I'm worried now what's going to happen if it doesn't go all right in the early game, you know? Maybe BNK FearX iterate a bit better in the early stages. And what's weird to me is the bans have changed quite substantially. We've seen this Azir ban come through from BNK FearX, and now the Varus ban from DM Freaks. Why they're banning Varus on blue side, I don't know. I would have personally picked Varus.
Yeah.
But they must have another plan. Azir has been banned away. We do see that the Poppy that was banned before has been left open available. Xin Zhao that was banned before has been left open and available. Trundle going to be first picked here. Obviously feeling a lot of confidence in this pick with the pool of picks that are left open.
Yeah, I do think that Trundle comps are definitely more difficult to play. Annie, something that's relatively easy. It's a very nice go button. It's something that Vikla has played a decent amount. What are we going to see in the jungle alongside of it? Xin Zhao available, but often Trundle picked into Xin Zhao, so maybe thinking about something else.
I like the Wukong. I think you can play around. You have that bit of mobility, so you're not always just immediately shut down by the pillar. And a lot of threat. Any picks on DNF's side. We see the Aatrox blinded here, and then the Aurora picked up, which, I mean, Aurora mid's been pretty strong, but I feel like part of the value of Aurora is the fact that she's been so potent as a flex, and I feel like you immediately give away that it's not a flex. So I don't think a huge amount of value picked up from that rotation from DNF, and looking at Clear potentially taking the Yorick into the Aatrox, and that will be secured. So I think BNK VFX pretty happy with how the draft has started off so far.
Yeah, nothing really to be too unhappy about. You know exactly where everything's going. As you mentioned, the Aurora's going straight in the mid into the Annie. You can pick the Yorick into the top lane to neutralize the Aatrox. And now you'll have first pick from the red side for your duo in the bot lane. We already had Kai'Sa and Zeri gone. Lucian banned here alongside of Varus. So Senna gonna follow, which means we're probably gonna dig a little bit deeper into this 80 carry pool.
Yeah, and just when we get the Senna ban on red side, it's often not been like picked as like that R4 pickup. We'll see what they have to go for. Corki's been pretty high priority as an 80 carry, especially later in the series, so could see a lean towards that. Gives a lot of mid-game power, a lot of lane power as well. Did see that Rakan ban come through again. We see the Bard taken away from life once more, limiting that support pool.
Yeah, Bard definitely a big annoyance, especially if you can play it well. I feel like Bard cards should be a thing, especially because it rhymes.
Is that the main reason?
That's really the only no, it's not. It just feels like Bard, like sometimes we see it and we're like, why the hell are you playing Bard if that's what's going to happen? You know, it's definitely a volatile pick that can sometimes go very well if you can play it well, and sometimes be kind of int, to be honest. So, you know, Savannah here up against Life, definitely showing a lot of respect. We are going to see the Sivir picked up, which, I mean, as a blind pick, pretty safe, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of wave clear on the pick and kind of just plant it down in mid. Obviously gives that movement speed to the Wukong, which is pretty valuable. And I feel like you still have a lot of support options you can pick up with that counter pick for Kellen. You can go towards something like a Karma, you can go towards something like a Braum. But the Infreak's looking towards a Jinx, which I think makes sense. You know, you can match that wave clear and also just outrange the Sivir. So maybe the Sivir pick getting punished a bit here. Don't have the Lulu to pair with the Jinx though. But I feel like you can kind of just... A lot of options you can pair up here. My only concern is you are playing into a Annie Wukong, so could potentially be a little bit vulnerable.
Maybe like Emilio. It's weird to not have the Lulu available. Yumi, not really a thing. I mean, you could go for some hard engage because you don't really have any, like a Nautilus.
Yeah.
There it is.
Kind of feels like it's one of those situations where it's like, look, we're just going to do our thing and you're going to clean up and just play safe. That age-old, just tell the 80 carry to play safe. You know, classic.
Just don't get dove, farm up, and carry us at 30 minutes. Rel going to be selected here. So that's some more hard engage on the side of BNK. They already had the Annie Wukong. And even like we saw Flandre at EWC putting out the donuts on people and kind of engaging like that, just running at them. So certainly a lot of lockdown from the side of BNK.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, having the Yorick in top lane can be a big threat towards that Aatrox that we saw blinded. But I think other than that, you know, both mid laners, a lot of engage threat on them. Both junglers, a lot of early skirmishing power. And then both AD carries, a lot of scaling with the engage supports. I feel like both compositions do a lot of things similarly, which I think feels pretty bad for DNF because game one you had a lot of tools, a lot of setup that you could play around, a lot of easy agency, and even with that, they couldn't get over the finish line. I don't think you have a big edge coming out of this draft. I don't really feel like you have an edge, so I think it's more face-up. And I think the Jinx range advantage is one of the big winners for them, and we'll see what Berserker can do with that, but I think overall, they're going to have to work a lot harder, and it wasn't enough in game one, so they'll have to do a lot more in game two.
It's certainly not an easy situation. She says, today also, I believe in the Freaks. And never giving up, never surrendering is it's very noble. We'll see if it helps them out here in game number 2 up against BNK after that rough game 1, as we are ready at the top of the rift for game number 2.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Here we go, game number 2. Fans desperate for a victory here for the DN Freaks. Still tons of fans showing up for them, even throughout their entire loss streak. Lots of crying when they finally got that first win as well against Snongshin. Understandably so.
생성되었습니다.
It was a long journey to get to that point. I hope they don't take as long. I mean, they don't have as much time this time around. Only 12 matches in round 3 to 5 compared to 18 in rounds 1 and 2. So less time to try and seek out a win. Still a chance to get one today, but an uphill battle when they're already down 1 game against BNK FairX. And the hope for all those fans is that they get, you know, obviously a win a lot sooner, but also more wins. More than 1 would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than 2 would be great as well.
Yeah, that does fall under the umbrella of more than 1. So I think you were correct. A lot of fighting here, a lot of skirmishing in the bottom lane. But it's Jinx and Sivir at level 1, so not really going to amount to all too much. Really will just come down to the way it does farm out. A little tempo heal from Kellen, and they're definitely going to hit level 2 first. So not sure if 100% needed, but it will certainly secure their spot here as the people in control of the lane. Nice amount of poke coming in onto Berserker as well.
You know what, here's the pitch, right? Because I know Atlas would love this. They should add Hex heal to the game. In your heal, and then you can like channel heal over like 10 seconds. That'd be really broken. But it's just like, you know how you encourage people to use it early, so you
yeah. I feel like there's a way. Maybe like Hex Ghost, you know? If you stand still for like 4 seconds or something, you get a ghost.
fun.
Yeah, you have to hold it for the whole time.
Every summoner has like a Hex version.
Yeah, I mean,
No, some of those would be really broken, like Hex Teleport.
that is not one that we'll allow. We can just keep that one out.
Wait, Hex Teleport, it takes so long, but it just walks.
It gets you like 5 seconds faster.
No, it doesn't get you faster at all. It's just you can't be bothered, you know? Oh, guys, BRB, I just need to go to the toilet.
I gotta AFK a little bit,
Yeah,
you know?
You like how the TP floats over really slowly?
Yeah.
It's like glacially slow. You see it like floating by, just like a normal walking pace.
Yeah.
Need some good pitches. We should make sure they're heard, by the way. I feel like we come up with so many great ideas.
For some reason, they don't get implemented, though.
Yeah,
it's really strange. I don't know why.
I don't know. It's, yeah, we'll have to speak to the right people about these.
Yeah.
Hex cleanse, you know?
You're dead when your Hex Cleanse goes off. Because you gotta hold it for 3 seconds, obviously.
You gotta preemptively start channeling it.
Yeah.
See an Annie looking in your direction, you start like channeling, and the Annie just goes, okay, and just walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is, they just left that bottom lane in a really bad spot. They are gonna get a hook down here onto Kellen, but already it looks like 3 melee minions denied. Only issue is that Diablo actually finished his back, so the Gambit, I'll call it, kind of works out for the DNF bottom lane. As some minions are denied from Diablo 2.
BK FairX, gonna take a while to push this in. Diablo's gonna be there to be able to pick up the wave. DNF, yes, is gonna recall now, but you know, he's already got back with a cull, so he's gonna be happy. And now Kellen has some time to reset and roam. I think BNK FairX is pretty happy about that.
Yeah, a bit of an issue, Ox.
Yeah.
Not really sure how that managed to happen, but Dudu is doing a great job here in the lane.
A lot of confidence in this Aatrox pick, it would seem. And I do feel like at level 6, things get a lot trickier for the Aatrox. But right now, he's having a great time.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun. Diablo, quite the opposite here, as he's being bullied by a Trundle, has to flash away from Pyosik, who is now going to start up this dragon.
Not sure what Diablo was going for in the river there, but that pillar placement was pretty pristine.
Yeah, Life in a bit of trouble. I'm not sure if they quite have the damage to take him out, but that big chunk means that Pyosik has to peel off of the dragon, which he's probably not too happy about. Right, the flash comes in, and you're not getting away from this one, although he is. He's able to just hop away, as now Life is down here with Pyosik trying to come in for the counter gank. They do have their flashes available, but the long chase is coming in. Life gonna flash over the wall, but immediately Kellen goes over, and is gonna land that stun. The hook goes into Kellen, but I think Aftershock not gonna save you here. First blood given over to Raptor, who is enjoying a very fun jungle so far this game.
BNK FairX really wanted First Blood.
All right, trying to get a bit more here, but that's Ghost on the Jinx, and now Kellen is just dead here. As there's nowhere for him to go. He doesn't have his flash, and Berserker's just going to be given a kill. Get really nice and excited. So that's a kill on the Jinx. Probably shouldn't have happened. Nice positioning from Pyosik.
And just very over-aggressive, I feel like, from BNK FairX. Like, they got that first kill into life, but they invested so many summoners across the map. Everyone burned flash apart from Clear. Speaking of Clear, he now has the Maiden and feels a lot better about this matchup.
Yeah.
Able to drain out the Aatrox a good amount with that Sheen available. Life is heading over though. But Yorick's one of these champions where Nautilus just doesn't have a lot of fun, because with all the ghouls and the Maiden, it's pretty hard to hit your abilities.
And the Ghoulie Wall. Don't forget.
Yeah, the Ghoulie Wall. Problematic for a Nautilus.
Yeah. Little swap coming on in. As Life is hanging around in the top lane. You see the back here from Berserker.
Vikla will just come in top and push his wave out. Yeah, like Vikla been his flash and just got Bulldog gold. You know, we saw so many summoners bin across the board in BKRX. No significant gain. And I just wonder if we're going to see these capitalized on by DNF, especially when you have like a Trundle, where that pillar just kind of is a death sentence if you're in a wrong position.
Yeah, it feels like they should be able to find it, and you remember from game number 1, Vikla got bullied a lot in the top lane, died twice to the Nocturne. Obviously that was a bit easier of a setup, but he's down his flash. You've got Trundle. You could try to set something up there, but looks like BNK is ahead of the play, expecting it. They've got their jungle and support on in. As the pillar comes down, the subjugation as well. And still Raptor goes in after that first kill, feeling pretty fed, but they're going very deep for this one. Life might go down, yes he does, but now Kellen in a rough spot. Might get this Jinx excited, but no, he barely gets away. And finally Bulldog does get away himself. Berserker gets the kill, but BNK say, well, that's enough. I think we've gone deep enough. And it's just a trade 1-for-1.
And I just feel like DNF not ready for the fight, don't have their members in position. The fight gets started by BNK FairX. They managed to chunk out the front line really early on, but aren't able to follow through on the back end, aren't able to get more than that one kill. We'll see here, like, so much damage is done in the offset. Both of these front liners are chunked so heavily, even with the subjugation, that by the time Berserker and Bulldog turn up, like, imagine if Jinx was here with more mana and Bulldog was there earlier, I feel like this fight could have gone so much more in favor of DNF with the summoner advantage than just being a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
But in the end, it is a 1-for-1. It is going to be 2 grubs for BNK VRX though.
Yes, 2 grubs. I feel like DNF, they should definitely use BNK's propensity to just send it over and over to their advantage. You say, okay, you want to send it, we'll be ready for it. And I feel like you always got to be ready for BNK to send it and just do crazy things and trade really overly aggressive fights, as they kind of did there. See, that Vikla seems to be fine down on the bottom side. 2 kills for Berserker, but certainly a lot of threats on the side of BNK that can shut down the Jinx, and not all that much protection for Berserker, as now trying to get in onto Vikla, but he just uses his Molten Shield to get that speed boost and runs away.
Yeah, that feels kind of bad. I'm looking for a dive on a Bulldog. No ult for Bulldog or Flash.
Yeah, flash on in here for Kellen. It's pretty elementary for him. And now they're going to try to do the same here to Vikla. Nice hook and even a little assist for the Jinx. And the kill will go over to Pioshik. So a trade of dives and a nice cross map here for DNF.
Both of those dives looked almost comically easy. No real challenge from either side. Just pick up the kills. And now damage being done to these structures. A lot of plates available. We do see DNF move away though after taking 3 down here. I guess maybe the fortification had ramped up a good amount, but this Yorick Wukong combo, they can just take this whole tower. This tower was basically full of wards.
Yeah, it was. It actually was. And that's first turret blood over to the side of BNK. That's feats of strength, an insane amount of golds, as Ox said. So BNK, you know, down about 200 gold at this point, but they don't really care because they got their feats of strength.
Got the Triforce there for the Wukong as well. Clay doesn't quite have his as he's gone for the tier 2 boots. But yeah, I just think maybe could have gone a little bit harder on the tower on the bot side, especially when you have a Trundle, but opted not to in that situation. And BNK VRX really cleaned up. Yuntal comes to for the Sivir, so it needs a little bit more time to ramp up on that. And I think honestly some big spikes for DNF right now though, with 2 Sundered Skies top jungle.
Oh, the flash on in here from Life. He wants to kill this Annie. And with Aatrox here as well, there's just no hope for Vikla. Even though he did flash, that's going to be his 2nd death and the 1st kill for Dudu.
I feel like it's been a consistent theme of just bullying Vikla this series so far. That has been the message.
Okay.
Okay, Clay's just piecing it out. No hard CC from the Aurora to stop him.
Just TP'd out of there. Yeah, I feel like, you know, if somebody's going to get caught out that much in the first game, when it's very obvious, he's going to get caught out in game number 2 as well. You know, and that has been some of Vikla's struggles throughout the LCK. And that's what's fun about the Rise group, trying to see where we've improved so far, Ox, but unfortunately so far today, it just feels like the same thing that we had in rounds 1 and 2.
You know, it is technically the same season.
It is,
right?
yeah.
You know, it's not spring and summer anymore, it's one long season, so it's our mistake for thinking things were different.
Yeah. I mean,
the scores carried over, you know?
The scores did carry over, yes, they did.
It's important to note that, because that means that...
How does that make you feel?
DNF is still a 1-17 team.
Yes.
That's why it's important. But right now, in this game specifically, they are looking... Well, they did look like... They looked really good in last game as well, so...
Yeah, honestly, they were farther ahead at this point.
I feel like if the pace of the game really sped up, like if Riot made it so whoever was ahead in the game at like 15 minutes just won, oh man, DNF would be doing so well.
Yeah, they'd be a middle-of-the-pack team at least.
Yeah. This was unfortunate from Vikla, the straight line flash. Definitely panicked after seeing Life turn up there. And really unfortunate. Wasn't able to get away. Losing Flash and Annie always feels bad. Does have the Ionians though for that reduced Flash cooldown.
Yeah.
And now, looking to be punished, we do see Callan heading over, and that will be enough to spook him.
Yeah. At this point, it's like he's hugging the turret. He has a control ward, or at least a ward there. You're not going to dive on the third time. It's not really going to happen.
Unless?
I mean, the second time wasn't really a dive, but yeah, bit of an unfortunate position from Vikla. By the way, Diablo, most CS in the game, as was just shown. Also ahead in levels on his mid laner. Kellen level 6 himself. But Vikla 2 levels behind Bulldog, who just hit level 11. Now Vikla is going to hit level 10 here and make that a little bit less egregious.
1 level behind, you know, but it is a full level. You know, if you look at the XP bar, it's like a full level behind, which is significant. But yeah, Vikla not having the best time on this Annie. And I mean, you're always still going to have that utility of the Annie, you know, the CC, but it feels very different when you're able just to like pop the ult and explode someone, or just provide the CC.
Well, looks like we want to fight over the Rift Heralds here as TP comes in. DNF, remember this, just 20 minutes ago at the Baron in game 1. This Raptor is here waiting for the smite. It's going to go to the Jinx as now the engage comes in onto the backline of Berserker is in so much trouble. He's the first one to go down. And that was the one-fed guy on the side of DNF. Thankfully for DNF, at least they're able to trade 1-for-1 as they take down Vikla, who did go deep himself. As now trying to overextend for this fight. They want to get onto Diablo, who gets hooked down and pillared. And down he will go himself. And Pyosik looking for more, picks up the double. And Kellen will just be donated over to Bulldog. Eventually, there it goes. And DNF finally take a big fight here.
Yeah, Live getting so much value on this Nautilus, connecting onto the Sivir. And Pyosik on the Trundle just cleaning up in this fight. They'll be able to take this turret as well, shredding through it. See the replay here. So initially, see this very aggressive dive onto the Jinx here. Also catches the Aurora in it, but we see the turnaround just kind of explodes Vikla.
He stepped on the chompers, man.
Happens. And then in this sort of the reset after the fact, we see Pyosik feeling confident, feeling aggressive, and then Life snipes this Sivir here. The pillar comes down when they try and engage the peel for the AD carry, and it means Pyosik can just continue to chomp and clean up.
Yeah. It's a pretty difficult scenario after they were that deep after that fight. And, you know, the Jinx was doing very well earlier, but now the biggest lead in gold is going to go over to Bulldog. We already highlighted the level lead. Diablo's been doing a good job of farming up and keeping up with Berserker, even though he got the first couple of kills, but...
You know, he's going to be so happy right now, Mao, because they're picking up dragons. They're actually taking dragons.
Oh, hey, it's Mountain Soul again, too, so...
Yeah, they understand now. They were actually watching the space, and we heard Mao saying, like, oh, you should take dragons.
Yeah.
Dragons are cool.
This time it's BNK who kind of have that burst comp with the Annie Wukong, but... Yeah. Potential for DNF to actually get this soul and to help them out against that. So this position, once again, you know, we said they didn't quite have the same lead earlier on, but now they have the same lead that they had in last game, where it was about 3,000 at 20 minutes as Bulldog is going to try to hop away. The rest of the team is here, but the engage once again from Kellen is excellent, and they're going to take down Bulldog just like that. And Berserker is late to the party. It's 2 kills now for B&K. And they might even get a third. And oh no, it's Berserker getting isolated by Vikla. Finds him on the bottom side. It's 4 free kills after B&K hide on push and turn the game around.
Yeah, you're always waiting for it. You're always just waiting for the moment. And there
Not
it is.
again.
There it is. And less surprising this time. You know, I think last time it being that time away had really kind of.
But now you're locked in.
I lacked exposure to it. Now I was ready for it. It's a big engage. This is what B&K BFX's composition wants to do. Waiting for the angle where they get a big combo onto multiple members. Pyosik just ends up in the mixer.
Oh, Berserker.
Yeah, you know that whole thing I said in draft about just play safe? There ain't no one playing safe against that.
They're like taking this fight here. They don't have vision. Berserker is trying to follow up with no sums.
Oh my,
by the way.
Look at that gold drop, that cliff.
That happened in game 1 too.
Yeah.
The thing about game 1 though was that it happened later, and the game kind of ended so quickly that there was no recourse for DNF, right? They kind of just like threw into Baron and then they just lost. So maybe here it's like kind of an even state, and maybe they can get something back.
Honestly, the worst bit about that for Berserker is it's when you have no flash and Annie runs up to you and just like cues you first, so you can't dodge it, and then just rolls on the keyboard, hits every button.
Smashes his face on the keyboard. He's like, oh yeah. This is what
What
I
a
watched the whole game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, gold's even. They have 2 dragons in pocket. It's not over. They're gonna make use of the Herald. It definitely gave a lot of hope to be. Swing and a miss from Life there.
He's hit some big ones, okay?
Sometimes the confidence gets shaken when you lose a team fight.
I also don't even know if that would have been a good idea. Because it's double Summoner Sivir, who, you know, maybe if you can perfectly chain your CC, it works. But that was very far away from the rest of his team. And it's not like they have a huge engage comp. He is the engage. So maybe it's better it missed. Either way, got a little setup here on the top side of the map. This time it's Kellen who's caught out, but the rest of the team is trying to come on in. A big Tibbers onto multiple, but the damage follow-up is not there. Diablo can't get in, and Kellen on the run. He looks like he will get away, but Vikla not the same for him. Diablo doing a bit more damage, but he's going to be locked down, pulled back, although they can't quite kill him for some reason. Diablo's going to get away. Raptor on the run as well, but DNF, they already got Vikla, and they'll look for the Otacon.
They should be able to secure this, so good pickup here. We do see the Maiden just vibing. Just doing that little shake.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa,
Whoa, whoa.
It's hit the tower. Yeah, but a good fight from DNF. A little bit scrappy, and there was a moment where it looked like it could have not gone in their favor, but I feel like they're sticking together as a unit. They focused out Kellen. Yes, the turnaround comes in for Vikla, but this is initially very favored in terms of DNF, in terms of numbers. Yorick's not here. Rival's kind of zoned out. They blow up Vikla here, and then the Sivir just can't do anything. Too low on HP. Player's kind of off to the side. His ult's not even there. Kellen is over a wall. There was just never really any point where where BNK FairX was like grouped as a team and could fight as a 5v5.
Yeah. I feel like that should have been a kill on a Diablo as well. I'm not really sure. Like, Dudu used his Q3 on the clone, I think, instead. And Diablo was always going to be pulled back. Like, yes, we had, like, God Vision, so we could see exactly what the angle was, so maybe he didn't quite know, but could have been another kill on top of it all. Now trying to set up here for the Dragon, and Chronicler probably going to be pretty happy that BNK seemed to be in position to deny a Mountain Soul point, which is still very important. Even for BNK, who do have a lot of go buttons and are confident as a team to fight, they'd still like to deny this if possible. As a bit of damage onto the Dragon already. We got the TP coming in from Vikla. As Dudu just gets over the wall, the pillar, the follow-up, and a Raptor is huge. The damage from the Aurora, and Vikla is just on the run. Can't really get out of there either, doesn't have his flash. And so they just kind of run straight at the Trundle, get pillared, and die.
Yeah, I mean, DNF are the ones starting the fight here. We don't have that engage coming out from BNK FairX. And very quick fight from them. I love the targeting on the Wukong there. The clone was burned by Raptor earlier, so they knew that they could commit. We see here, Raptor's clone's already down. So when he steps up, Life goes for the play, commits everything. Immediately the Wukong's gone. They know the Dragon is theirs, but they clean up Vikla as well just to make sure no chance of turnaround from BNK FairX.
And Diablo and Kellen, they were chasing the Aatrox, who just dashed over the wall and said, "See you later, nerds." He's like, all right, I'm in the fight immediately. And Diablo and Kellen were like, oh crap, our Wukong got hooked. Well, we're not gonna do any damage now.
Yeah.
We're just out of position. So BNK, they love to fight, but has not been the cleanest engages the last couple of fights, to say the least.
And now they are facing down a team. 2,000 gold lead, not huge, but it's the triple Dragon, it's the Atacam buff, it's the advantages there for DNF, and this Jinx getting very strong with that range advantage. The fact that this Aurora is 3,000 gold ahead of Vikla. I mean, look at the item difference, 2.5 to 1.5.
It's 3 full levels as well, almost.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. I mean, Life is... He's catching up. Life's almost up to Vikla. Like, he's in level 10 soon.
And then the problem is you have a Sivir who's just just eating all this farm up, and now you end up in a scenario where you have a support Annie.
I think that's part of it, but also Vicla's died so many times that he just hasn't been on the map to farm too.
That is also true.
So it's like it's both sides where it's like, wow, we're really getting double screwed over here. If you're Annie, not a fun time for Vicla.
But you're literally just a stun bot this game as Vicla. There is no one that you would actually kill with your full combo. I think full combo Jinx does just like survive.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Berserker would be low enough that isn't really going to be able to team fight afterwards, but it's kind of crazy that it's at that point.
Yeah. Or, hopefully, you know, the rest of the team is there and they're following up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You still have the CC setup, but it's not a great spot to, it's not a great feeling.
Yeah.
To be a level 12 Annie at this point of the game.
He's got a spell shield this time. That one, a very obvious hook that comes in, but now the pillar comes down and the follow-up comes in from Kellen, trying to keep him safe. The auto doesn't do a whole lot. Pioshik, very tanky, but he's in the backline. Raptor, Berserker gets shot down by Raptor. In the backline, you see Vicla's just running away with a sliver of health himself, and Diablo totally untouched this entire fight as they overextend big time in the mid lane to DNF. Even an extra shutdown bonus for Diablo as B&K are right back in it.
Diablo's so confident in that fight, played it so well. The initial engage onto him, burns spell shield. The thing is, with the Navori, with the ult as well, he gets his cooldowns back so quickly. But despite his short range he has, able to pump out damage that whole time, able to play around the spell shield cooldown and not get threatened. Chunking out Bulldog there, Clear's looking for him.
Yeah.
Pioshik's there with Smite though. Raptor's coming over with his as well. And I think with Vicla turning up, that's enough. Yeah. And Pioshik's gonna have to, I mean, I say he's gonna have to run. Can he get out?
I don't know. Maiden's down here too. The damage from the York is huge, and he smacks him on the head. And Diablo and Raptor both get in front of that. It is Baron now for B&K FearX, 26 minutes in.
I mean, this team fight was so well played by the B&K FearX 80 carry. I feel like DNF thought they maybe found a winner to catch him out. So Spell Shield gets burned here, and we see Pioshik's like, okay, we can walk up on him, we can kill her, we can ult. He kites away, it's fine to take the ult here, moves forward, gets the reset and the Spell shields the poke from the Aurora there, moves forwards away from the Aatrox, splashes forwards to get more damage. Spell shields up again, spell shields a knockup from Dudu, and was just constantly ordering that whole time, shredding.
Yeah.
And was just untouched. The rest of the team doing things around him, but considering he was that primary target for DNF, didn't falter for one moment.
And if you consider his counterpart, which was Berserker, he was trying to follow up on his team again, and he just gets caught out in a really rough spot by the Wukong. So Raptor did a really good job to dive deep to punish Berserker for trying to step up, and it's not Berserker's fault, really. It's just the overextension of the team, right? It kind of forces you to fight in a really awkward spot, and the Jinx is always going to be vulnerable in a spot like that, especially when you're Jinx, man. You don't have any Tom Kench, there's no Lulu. You don't really have any supports on your team. You just have Engage. And now we're going to get another fight here. This is onto the Trundle, but they have the damage. The Subjugate doesn't even get used as he dies before that time. It's now Dudu flashing on in to his inevitable death. It looks like he's surviving for quite a long time, though. Berserker going to go down. Raptor takes out two. Bulldog just on the run. And I think this game might be lights out at a very similar time here, Ox.
Yep, DNF a little bit late for the setup on the Dragon. A trap was set by B&K FearX. They focused down Trundle first. Doesn't even get a chance to use the Subjugate. And once again, I feel like this AD carry, this Sivir, just untouchable, not able to find that threat. Able to just team fight pretty flawlessly. B&K FearX will claim the win 2-0 over their opposition.
Yeah, pretty good stuff from them to be able to come back from behind twice in a row. And got to give them a bit of credit, even though DNF did kind of struggle themselves. Down will go the Nexus. B&K the 2-0. A good start here to their Rise group journey. And yeah, big focus on Raptor. I feel like it's either Raptor or Diablo. There's not really another choice in this series for POMs. And really just comes down to which which part of the game you think mattered a bit more? You know, was it the AD carry with perfect positioning and dealing all that damage, or was it the deep engages of the Wukong from the side of Raptor and, you know, his consistency in game 1 as well, the Baron steals, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of one of these situations where if it was player of the game, this game, I think for me it was Diablo, but I think for PO play the match, I think I'm going towards Raptor.
Yeah.
I think game 1 he was really good as well, and the steal in the Baron, pretty influential. But yeah, I think overall BNK FearX, I think this is the expected outcome. I think obviously it was not the cleanest series. There was definitely some moments that I'm sure they'll want to review. The coaching staff will have some words to speak about. And DNF, time away has not drastically changed things. I think it's just made us feel a little bit sadder about it, because I really hope that things will be different.
It just kind of solidifies in our minds that not much has changed, you know? So that's unfortunate. Oh, you gotta turn that sign upside down. Yeah, there you go. Okay, he did it. And obviously the one on the right you guys can read says Diablo. He was big. I think Diablo's skill shows itself once again. You put him on a champ like Sivir. Even though there were a decent amount of threats, the Trundle, the Nautilus, he was able to skirt around a lot of them and just do a ton of damage, which is what you got to do.
Yeah, and again, there was just so many good fights earlier on. This was not, you know, one of the ones that was super favorable for DNF, but it just feels like early game, mid game, this team has a pretty clear idea of what they're doing. And I wonder if that's why it's been difficult for them to improve, because in scrims, the easiest thing to practice is like the early game, the mid game, because the scrim culture often is, you know, you can play early game, mid game out. Often scrims, you know, sometimes when there's a big advantage in games, you're just like, okay, let's end the game there. But even so, like, you're gonna play more early games by default because every game has an early game.
Yeah.
And I feel like this late game, the pressure of the stage adds to the decisions you're making in these late game situations, and I feel like that's where DNF crumbles. You know, for all we know in scrims, they could be even practicing these late game scenarios. They make the right decisions, they get on stage and just implode.
Yeah. I mean, this is the fight that broke the camel's back. Berserker's like, I'm here, I'm doing damage. Look at Raptor, just sneaks in the back line, immediately takes out Berserker. I think there was like a ricochet that came in over the top as well, as Diablo got in position, dealt the damage. Berserker never really got to play the game even from ahead. It was the exact opposite for Diablo, who did quite a lot of gaming in game 2.
I just feel like every fight on this Sivir, you can just see him constantly autoing. Then he'll block the dredge line with the spell shield, and then he'll kite away when the ult comes through. So when he does get knocked up, nothing happens. He'll push forward again and just start doing damage. Raptor just, it feels like he is a piece of metal and Berserk is a magnet, and he's just drawn to him every single time, slams straight into him.
The worst kind of jungler
can do.
Yeah, the worst kind of jungler to play into when you're playing AD carry in solo queue, but the damage does not lie. Diablo doing quite a lot. I think the fact that Raptor did basically as much as Vikla really shows you kind of what was going on in this game.
No, I'm actually kind of impressed Vikla did that much damage, considering he was a support Annie.
Yeah.
You know, if Vikla had been more around like the 7k level with Kellen, considering he was like 3 levels down, I'd be like, yeah.
Like, when you're Annie and you've got Tibbers and Malignants, you're going to do a lot of just damage that doesn't really matter, that just kind of flows out. Yeah. So he was able to overcome Raptor just barely. Raptor feels like the pretty obvious player of the match, although Diablo is a very close second, so maybe not that obvious, but he had an excellent day, and he was very consistent, and I think he deserves it as well.
Yeah, I think maybe some votes towards between those two would make sense, but I think Raptor, I mean, that was my vote. I think that's the winner that makes sense.
Yeah, does make sense, so we'll be hearing from him in just a moment. Very Rise group set of games here, Ox. I think this is exactly what we could have expected. Funnily enough, we do have, KT versus Noshim up next, which it's going to be very Legends group kind of games, right?
I feel like that's a sort of, you know, yes, it's Legend. We've got a little sprinkle of Rise vibes there.
Yeah.
You know,
very like particular, specific kind of spice, you know.
Yes.
Pretty
yes.
rare.
The rare flavoring.
Yeah, you don't see it very often in Legend, but between these two teams, you probably will.
It'll be. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a fun sort of series.
Yeah, I mean, they were the two teams that barely made it through ahead of DK, who's in Rise, so it kind of makes sense. Either way, guys, we are done for now. Let's head over to the...
2025 LCK 라이즈 그룹의 DNF릭스와 BNK PX의 3라운드 대결.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We are here with Raptor on the side of BNK VRX. Congratulations!
한번 다시 마음껏 흔들어 주세요.
It looks like you're shaking the cheer stick and the light stick. You can go ahead and freely do so. How are you doing this season, during the off season so far? No, I was playing a lot of League of Legends. And I'm sure that's why you were able to perform so well today. How do you feel about the victory? You know, both games were quite difficult, but we didn't lose focus. And I think we were quite decisive and were able to finish off pretty nicely today. Please give it up for Raptor. How does it feel to get a POM on your first victory of round 3? You know, I wasn't really focused on getting the POM. I just really wanted to win today. I think every one of my teammates did so well. So I feel like even if it wasn't me that received POM, I think everyone deserves one. You know, you pulled such a huge comeback in game 1, so I want to know if the players knew that this would happen. You know, we weren't really wondering if we would win, but I think we just wanted to focus on what we had to do, our job, just carrying out our job, and you know, we knew that as long as we pull through the end, that the results will pay off. I think from all the team fights that we won, we knew that we actually would end up closing out with the victory. And in game 2, it was intense all game until this one moment shifted the control over to BNK VRX. So here, how were you able to focus down Jinx in the right moment? You know, Sivir had really good itemization. She had all the core items, and she actually called for Jinx. And I think we were all able to stay on the same page and focus down Jinx so fast. And for both games 1 and 2, your objective control was on point, denying the Dragon Soul from the enemy and then stealing the Baron. So how are you able to play so decisively and calmly in such important moments? You know, the Baron steal was honestly just lucky. I think it just all works out as long as we are focused. So with today's victory, it's such a great start to round 3. So what are your goals? You know, our goal is to end up first place in the Rise group. And personally, I want to be the best jungler in the group. So in order for you to achieve that goal, you have a Saturday showdown coming up against D plus Kia. What is your mindset? Starting from today's victory, I hope that all of us are able to pull up our confidence and keep up our momentum to keep our performance. And that's the end of the interview with Raptor, and back to the space. Thank you.